Hi, everybody. Suzanne Shirley, and it is so nice. We are finishing up the book tonight. We've got the last 5 chapters, 21 to 25 of the John Maxwell's 25 Ways to Win with People. Before we get started on anything else, I'm going to tell you this is the next book that we are doing. It's called The Business of the 21st Century by Robert Kiyosaki, incredible multimillionaire business owner. He's not a network marketing company owner, but he works with and is extremely good friends with many different big gurus in the industry. He knows all about network marketing, and we will start this book study on Monday, March the 18th, the first 5 chapters. This has only got 21 chapters in it. We're only going to do it for 4 weeks, and we're not going to do a thing where I sit around and teach. Okay, we're going to read 5 chapters, then we're going to get on and just go, what do you think about, what was your best thing that you liked about it? And we're going to just like, whoever wants to talk. You don't have to talk if you don't want to talk. Okay, the only way you're going to learn is if you say something about what you read. Honestly, talking about what you read is how you're going to learn what you read. So just keep that in mind. It's going to keep me from teaching. I won't be recording it. It's not going to go on YouTube. It's not going to go on the team page. We're just going to meet and have a book study. Why am I doing it? Why? So that we can stay consistent with personal growth and development. Look, if I have you reading 30, give or take, pages, this has 100 and, what did I tell you? What did I say? 117 pages. 117 pages, so give or take 30 pages every time we meet. So if you do 10 pages, 10 pages, 10 pages, 3 times a week, you'll get the chapters read so that you can meet us. So 10 pages, 10 pages, 10 pages. I think that's easy to do. This is a small book. It's little. Okay? Great book. Robin Sullivan, my friend, did this with her team months ago. I watched them do it. I was not a part of their thing, but she told me, yeah, it's awesome. So, and I feel like we need to do something about network marketing. There's another book that I've got a good idea on as well, and that I just don't want to overwhelm. So that's our next one. Okay. I am really hitting it hard with personal growth and development. Why? Because that's your paycheck. Being real honest with you, if you read, you will get a bigger mindset. If you get a bigger mindset, you're going to think more positively about yourself. You're going to invest more in yourself. You're going to start to see opportunities where there were none. You're going to believe you can do this thing. You're going to see yourself winning and accomplishing your goals, period. And at the end of the year, if you've read 5 books, it's better than reading none. If you've read 6 or 7 books, it's better than reading none. Trust me, you'll be a better person, a different person, a more grown and developed person by the end of the year. So 10 pages every day, and you'll get 20 books, 20 to 25 books in 1 year. Okay, that is a commitment. Chapter 21, give with no strings attached. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for other people? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's so important to have that as a lifestyle. Giving to other people without expecting anything in return. And when you do that, it's liberating. It's liberating. And you're actually winning at the same time. The most satisfying thing in life is to have been able to give a large part of oneself to others. And that's by a Jesuit theologian. Generous people everywhere who had nothing or very little that they possessed, but they were generous and they gave when they were not expecting a thing in return. Give with an abundance mentality. If you're always thinking that there's not enough to go around and you don't have anything to give because there's not enough to go around, you're living in a scarcity mindset. An abundance mentality realizes there's an unlimited amount of money out there. There's an unlimited amount of resources. There's an unlimited supply of opportunity. Why can't you have a piece of the pie? That's an abundance mindset. So people possessing an abundance mindset believe that there's plenty of everything to go around for everybody. You need to operate in that mindset. Okay? People who give with no strings attached see the big picture. They see the big picture. People who give with no strings attached are actually aware of the people that they have received along the way. They're aware of the help. People that give with an abundance mindset always keep in mind all the help that they've received every step of the way. In other words, they would never have gotten where they're at without the help of all these other people. And they know who helped them. So an abundance mindset knows and identifies all the help that they've gotten all along. An abundance mindset person is determined to do for the next generation that has what was done for them. You want to do for others as have been done to you. I really love this poem by W.A. Dromgoole. His name is Dromgoole. The Bridge Builder is the name of it. An old man walking a lonesome road came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and wide and deep. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The rolling stream had no fears for him. But he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow traveler near, you are wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the passing day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you this bridge and even at eventide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I have come, he said, there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. The chasm that was not to me, to the fair-headed youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building this bridge for him. Do something for someone that you expect nothing in return for. And that will be a greater perspective that you will have. Studies have actually shown that the higher one's level of helpfulness to other people is the greater well-being and life experience that you're going to have. You're going to have better well-being. That means health. Mind, peace of mind, peace of body. So forget about scarcity, instead focus on abundance. Ask, whom can I help that will give nothing in return? And do it. Be purposely kind and generous to a specific person. And remember, you do good. You do yourself the most good when you're doing something good for other people. So you win. You're filling your own cup when you fill the cup of others. Okay. Chapter 22, learn your mailman's name. What's the basis of this chapter? Names are the most important thing to a person. If you remember their name, you are going to endear them to you. They will love you for remembering their name because they know how hard it is to remember people's names because they don't remember names. And then you come along and remember their name, and that's going to make them love you. Okay? I spent every single 2 or 3 weeks, literally 2 to 3 weeks at the beginning of every year. I got my students in alphabetical order. I put them in rows in alphabetical order, and they hated it. But they didn't realize there was a method to my madness. Then each row, I had them get up and go to the front of the room, and I took that row's picture. Okay? They sit down. Then the next row gets up, and I took their picture. They sit down. The next row gets up, I took their picture. I had a list of the names alphabetically. I went home. I went to Walmart. I had the pictures developed. I took the digital copies, and I squared off each kid's face and stuck it into a seating chart. And I put each kid's face in alphabetical order with their name. And then I sat at home, I printed them off, and then I sat at home and looked at their face with their name and said, and memorized it. And after one day of getting that done, I had 2 classes done. Then I would come in the next day in front of the class. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to spend the first 15 minutes. You're going to have to just talk and enjoy yourselves. And I stood at the front of the row and I said, James Hammond, Victoria Richmond, da, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. That's what I did. I sat there and said them over and over, and some of them would sit there and laugh at me. They thought it was funny. But by the time the end of that whole week, and I had them all printed off, and I would sit at home and memorize them, then I'd go in the next day and practice. They're like, I bet you don't know my name, and they'd pop it right out, and I'd be like, such and such, such and such. They're like, wow. Why? Because here's the thing. I got to the point where I was passing out papers. I'm like, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? I mean, what a crazy thing to do with 150 kids. And I would have never known their names if I would have just taken however long it took me to naturally learn their names. Because for years I did that. And I realized I need to be intentional. I need to take the time. I need to put in the work to learn their names. And I will learn them early. And when I learn them early, I will know when their parents come walking in on back to school night 4 weeks into the year, I will know that their kid sits right here. Their kid sits right over here. Their kid sits right. And trust me, the parents loved when I said, your son sits right here in this desk. I got my eye on him. He is a good kid, you know. I'm telling you something, that those parents, their faces would light up. Mostly I did it because I just really wanted, I got tired of not knowing their names. It was catastrophic for me, okay, to try to put a paper with somebody's name. That's why I did it. But I saw the benefits of it so quickly that I realized that that was what I should have been doing it for, not just to get all my papers straight. Is because getting those kids' names down changed the way that they related to me. It was life-changing. Trust me. Okay. You got to know the value of the name. Here's a little method that you can use, the SAVE method. So when you meet somebody for the first time and you try to get to know them, call the acronym SAVE, S-A-V-E. So S, say the name 3 times in a conversation. That's so good. It's Amy, it's so nice to meet you. Wow. Okay. So what do you do for a limit? What do you do, Amy? What is it that you do? Oh, you stay at home, you work, blah, blah, blah. You know, it has been so awesome talking with you tonight, Amy. You're such an inspiration. I love your personality and your positive attitude. Say the name 3 times in conversation. A, S-A-V-E. Here's the A. Ask a question about their name. For example, okay, so how do you spell your name? And then spell it out with them. Ask them a question about their name. V, visualize the person's prominent physical or personality feature. Visualize their personality feature. E, end the conversation with their name. So maybe you can associate something with them, something that you already know that will help you to memorize it when you associate something you already know with that name. Here's an idea of when you're in a group and you're with somebody that you do know, but you don't know this person, okay? But you're supposed to know them. Go up with the one you do know and introduce that person whose name you do remember to the one who you don't. And maybe by happenstance, the individual will volunteer his name, okay? And you'll get to hear it. Here's a nice thing to do, and I do this all the time, right? I just apologize. I had your name down the other day, but it slipped my brain. I just think you're the greatest person ever. I want to remember your name. So tell me one more time, what's your name? And then I say it and say it and say it in my head. I say it over and over again, even after the conversation is over, because I don't want to get caught saying, tell me your name again. That is so not appealing. Go easy on yourself if you forget, because you're going to. You're human. Don't hold yourself in such a bad esteem. Chapter 23, point out people's strengths. When you know that someone's strengths and you can identify them, and then let that person know, you're going to encourage them beyond belief. And then here's another step, trick to the trade. Not only can you identify the strengths of another person, but if you can put people to work in the place where they're using their strength, that's a leadership skill. Okay? So identifying somebody's strength and encouraging them and letting them know what they are, that is a huge skill on its own. But when you can take those strengths that you've identified and put them to work with that person and put them in the place on your team or wherever it is that you're engaged with them and get their strengths working for them, Now you're burning on all 4 burners, right? That's a leadership skill. John says, first, I try to hire the best leaders I can find. If I can hire 9s and 10s, then they're going to attract, by the law of attraction, they're going to attract some 8s and 9s. Second, I always try to put those people in their areas of strength. Okay? People often make a mistake in their personal development when they focus too much on their weaknesses. They think they need to work on their weaknesses. I've heard it from person after person. No, I really got to work on that. I really got to work. No, please don't. You're wasting your time. Look, if you work on your weakness, and your weakness, like on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say you have a weakness and it's like a 4, and you work on that weakness and you work on it and you work on it, you might only be able to get it to a 5. But if you have a strength and it's an 8, you go work in that strength and you're going to hit it to a 9 or a 10. I mean, think about that. If you work in your strength, you're going to stay motivated, you're going to have results, and you're going to feel inspired. Okay? So focus on the strengths of other people. Try to figure them out. It's sometimes difficult to do. And then point out their strengths and underline people's uniqueness. Why not try to become that kind of person in somebody else's life? When you do, you might just be helping them to discover the thing that God created them to do. How powerful would that be? People are motivated by their strengths, like I just said. People add the most value in their strength zones. So they're going to add way more value, and they're going to get way more done, and they're going to feel way more empowered, and they're going to be so amazing if they're working in their strength zone. So don't have people focus on their weaknesses. Don't point out their weaknesses. Try to look past them. Try to find people's strengths and look for them. It's hard. It's sometimes hard because their weaknesses are like loud, ganging, clanging cymbals, right? All of our weaknesses are. They just are loud to everybody. But if you can look at somebody and try to find their strength and then point it out to them, oh my gosh, they're going to love you guys. You're going to be endeared to that person. Okay? Speak up. You need to speak up and make sure that you let that person know. Okay? So forget about the weaknesses of others. Ask, what does the individual do exceptionally well? Every day this week, tell at least one person what strength you see in him or her. And remember that every person in the world possesses the seeds of success. Chapter 24. Write notes of encouragement. Think about this. Do you have any letters that are really important to you that, like, if something happened to them, you would just die? Like, it's so important to you, these handwritten notes from somebody, maybe they've already passed away, you know, that you go back and look at them every now and then just to feel better, just to feel like they're still here. Okay? Why is that so important to you? Because those things mean something. They're way more valuable than spoken words. People are going to forget 95% of what you tell them. But if you write it down, trust me, they're going to remember it forever. Forever. My father, one of the last emails he ever wrote me was the one where he told me that he would see me one day in heaven. Do you think I will ever forget that email? No. That email was life-changing because he was on a journey to finding out who God is. And he really was worried because I told him that I sometimes cried without ceasing because I knew that I would never see him in heaven. Do you think that the letter that he wrote me 2 weeks before he died with a pen in his mouth on a piece of paper so he could put my name on it because he was a quadriplegic and he could not write, but he dictated the spoken part, the typing of the document, that he wrote my name with his pen in his teeth? Do you think that is, I could sit here and quote that letter to you right now. That letter is more important to me than anything. The letters that my grandmother wrote me for my freshman year in college, every single week she wrote me a letter. I never got rid of any one of those. I never thought, oh, that's just regular stuff. She's gone to the grocery store this week. She sent me an article on how to wash your clothes a certain way to get stains out. Okay, in the trash. No, that was my grandmother. I saved every single one of those. She didn't write me every single week after that, but my freshman year she did. And I have every single one of them. And sometimes I will take them out and I will read them, and it's like she's sitting next to me. Oh, they're so powerful. Write notes of encouragement. Write notes of encouragement. I won't read it, but the story of William Wilberforce, who abolished slavery in the UK, okay? That was the country that first got rid of slavery, and America came after that, right, with President Lincoln. So John Wesley was a pastor, and he is the founder of the Methodist Church, by the way, okay? John Wesley, and a phenomenal theologian, just absolutely astounding theologian, John Wesley. And William Wilberforce was struggling so hard in all of the evil, vile things that he came across in humanity, in the government, in Britain. And he was about to give up, and he asked John Wesley to encourage him. And John Wesley, a week before he died, wrote this letter to him. And that letter, even though John Wesley was dead, encouraged him and helped him never to quit, as if he was still alive, talking to him at that very moment, and he never gave up. And Britain was the first country to abolish slavery. And America was right afterwards. It took us forever, but we did too. If it had not been for William Wilberforce starting the abolishment of slavery, we might never have gotten to that place. Encouraging notes have a personal touch. Of course they do. It shows people that you really care about them. And it represents an actual investment. Like, you had to sacrifice to sit down and write something out to somebody. And I'll tell you this other thing. If you're not writing a personal note to your customers, thanking them for their purchase, like every 2 or 3 months, and, you know, offering them a little sample of something that they've never tried, I'm telling you, they will stick around and they will try that new thing that you're sending. If you show people how much they care, that you care, they will stick around. People stick around because they feel loved, okay? If you show somebody how much you love them, they will stick around. So write them a personal note. And I think I already made the point that those letters and those written things are comforting way after the person has long either A, forgotten them, or has long passed away. They're powerful. So research shows that when a word of encouragement is written down for another person, it's often perceived to be more genuine than if it were spoken. Huge. Last chapter, help people win. This is the greatest thing that we get to do in network marketing. We get to help our customers see results. We get to help our ambassadors see health results and business results. We get to help people make money, get freedom in their lives. It is the most liberating and rewarding thing when you see somebody that you've worked hard with and they are achieving their goals. Okay? He tells a story about he went to see his nephew Eric when he was 7 years old in a Little League game. Okay? So he went, he sat in the stands, him and Margaret, John Maxwell and his wife Margaret, and they went through they sat through the whole game, and they cheered him through every little thing that he did, okay? The whole way through. Then when they got home that day to Eric's house, the parents who couldn't be at the game, right, had to work. They didn't get to see it. But John and Margaret replayed the whole game in the living room. John stood in the middle of the living room and pretended to be Butch, and Eric stood by the piano bench, which was home plate. John threw the pitch. He hit the ball. He went around the bases, and Eric slid in safe under the piano bench, and we all stood up and gave him a standing ovation. And that day, we launched Eric into his Little League baseball career. And what happened is this. Listen to this. He's all grown up, but at about the time that he was ready to graduate from high school, Eric came out to visit John. And he said, Uncle John, I've got something exciting to tell you. Do you remember that first Little League baseball game? Of course I do, John said, and we reminisced about it. I've never forgotten it. Eric said, I've never forgotten it. And I just wanted to tell you this year, I'm going to college on a baseball scholarship. If you go and you help someone win, or you be a part of them winning, it is selfless to do that. Okay? It is selfless to go help others win. And they will remember that, and they will give you credit, and they will be with you for the rest of their lives, and they will be successful because you poured your life into them. Believe in people. People know when you don't believe in them. They see right through your pretense and insincere backslapping. Nobody wants an insincere backslap, right? They know when you believe in them, and when they know that you do, that's when the magic starts happening. Give people hope. Winston Churchill, one of the greatest things he could give to England is the hope that he had that no matter what happened to them because of the Third Reich and the evil Nazi regime of Hitler, that they would stand with hope. It was the greatest weapon of England, was their hope. Okay? And it's been said that a person can live for 40 days without food, 4 days without water, 4 minutes without air, but if they have no hope, they'll only live for about 4 seconds. Can you imagine what you would do if you had no hope? If you lived in despair and had no hope? Well, terrible things. I don't even want to say it. Hope is so important. Okay? Focus on the process, not just the win. So when you have the ability to actually hand somebody a win, don't do it. Help them win. Help them. Show them how to do it. Because when you show them the technique and you help them do it, then they have what it takes to do it again and again and again. If you give people the win, then you're not helping them at all. Okay? You've got to take this on as a process. Understand that when you help others win, you also win too. Helping other people win is a win for yourself. Trust me. When people make the right decisions that help the team to achieve the goal, everybody wins, and you cannot help winning when you help others win. Great book. Fabulous book. Awesome book. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate all of you guys who are out there on YouTube watching the replay. And we hope that you use these 25 ways to win with people and put them into practice. Take a couple at a time and focus on them. If you get this book on Audible, it's only 2 hours long, and you can listen to it over and over and over again, and it really sinks in. I have it on Audible too, and it's helped me so much. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn off the recording, and we're going to have our discussion. Love all you guys.